Hello there, Daniel. New
Hey,
album for Helloween, the self-titled studio album. How you
in,
feeling, guys?
we are at the moment we can't realize it pretty well because we are so busy with giving interviews, taking interviews, and taking a lot of questions. So at the moment, but initially, we are kind of overwhelmed because of the reactions of the press, of the journalists. So and we are jumping at the bits until Friday. Is it Friday the 18th? When the album finally gets released here in Europe, and then we are quite excited. We can't wait to see, to hear, to feel the fans' reactions. So when it's as good as the reactions of the journalists, then we are quite happy. So, but anyway, at the moment we are kind of over the moon, and but quite busy because there's a big run for interviews we haven't had before. So yeah, and now we're talking about the new album.
So, what were the first reactions from, the first listening sessions from fans and journalists alike?
About fans, I have no clue because just the journalists. Oh, I'm so tongue-tied after all these interviews today. um, only the journalists were allowed or got permission to listening to the album, and I attended to one listening session that was hosted on from Nuclear Blast via Zoom, this kind of Zoom app. And so we invited, or they invited, I don't know, 50, 60, 70 journalists at once. So you could see all the pictures on your screen and could watch them, how they react when they listening to our stuff the first time. And it was kind of quite interesting. And yeah, as I said before, the reaction were unanimous, and it was like unanimous, overwhelming, and no one was like, "Oh, that's not so good." No one was kind of criticism, but this time, yeah, they are kind of they're cheering, and they are kind of let's put it that way. They made us a kind of being taken aback of the reactions. It's yeah, they are completely positive in that way. A lot of people talking about best Helloween album in our career, or best Helloween album ever since from whatever previous album they like more, whatever. So, so to say, it's unanimous positive reaction. Yeah.
Okay, Daniel, these are strange times that we are living on. So, how difficult it was for you to make this album? Like we are living on the threat of COVID. We maybe see a light at the end of the tunnel eventually, but how difficult it was for you guys making this album?
Yeah, initially, actually, we started the recordings right before this situation broke out, so or took place. That's a better expression. So it might sound a bit strange, but to us or for the recording, the best thing that ever could happen to us was this COVID thing in a sense of time, because all of a sudden we had a lot of time on top. At the beginning of the recordings, we were quite squeezed of time because we started the recordings at the end of 19, and we should have found an end in the middle of 20. So all of a sudden we had plenty time to being even more meticulous, to refine things, to re-record things, to put in more creativity, to be more detailed and whatever. So at the end of the day, it was a good thing to us and for the recording and for this album. So take it that way, we got so much time all of a sudden that we could get made two completely different sounding mixes. I mean, we are in a luxury position. We have now two different mixes. And so without, it might sound really hard and harsh, but without that pandemic, we wouldn't have that much time. So we took the time we all of a sudden had to refine that album, or to make it sound best we can.
Okay, a new album, the self-titled album, an album that fans waiting for some time now. But 3 guitar players and 3 singers and the rest of you guys. How challenging was that to make this album possible?
It was just a challenge in the point of take the vocals first. I mean, Charlie Bauerfeind, our long-time producer, he took a lot of responsibility and time to balance 3 voices, especially in long songs such as Skyfall. I mean, as you can imagine, to find the right balance between 3 legendary and voices, that's quite tough. But he did well. So it was up to our co-producer Dennis Ward of Pink Cream and Charlie Bauerfeind to take the responsibility and to take the decisions about the balancing of the voices. I mean, on certain spots we got a bit too much Darius, or then all of a sudden we got a bit too much Kiske, or too less Kai, or whatever. So, but they balanced it well. And in a point of the guitars, I mean, hey, having 3 guitarists such as Gerstner, Weikart, Hansen, I mean, that's a dream.
The big guns.
I mean, for me, the thing is, Sasha is a master. I mean, is a machine in point of precision, tone, and speed. So to me, he's the bullet train in Helloween, where Hansen and Weikart can jump on. So, and that's what Sasha did. He always lays down fucking amazing guitar tracks and made it possible, or laid down a great foundation for Waiki and for Kai to jump on. As I already said, Kai with his energy. I mean, he's a reckless and restless guitar player in a point of energy. And Weiki is the Mister and the President and the Lord and the Prince or whatever, the Lord of tone. He has such a unique tone in his fingers. It's amazing. And yeah, having 3 guitarists, legendary guitarists and legendary voices, and an awesome bass player, and let alone the drummer.
So do you believe that there were any differences than the previous albums making, the Helloween album, or anything went on place naturally? Any things that you made differently, except from the 3 voices?
Yeah, of course. I mean, this time, first of all, that was the first time that we did that. We wanted to make, before we start the recordings, we wanted to make a jam session to get a bit an impression and a feeling for the song, the demos, and all the ideas that were flowing around. And so we secluded ourselves into the studio in Hamburg for a jam session that took, I guess, 4 or 5, 6, or maybe 7, 8 weeks. I have no clue anymore. It's a long time ago, but it was a never-ending story to me. So we jammed around with the ideas, and everyone could point out some new ideas. So, and we checked out, and so we recorded every little bit and pieces. So, and after that, we started the drum recordings, and this time we split the drum recordings into parts, so to say. The first part took place in Hamburg, in a smaller studio, I would say, because of the room. And the second half of the drum recordings were done, or were tracked down in south of Germany, close to Nuremberg. that was amazing. One of the biggest studio I've ever been to. That's a big room. What we wanted to record as much air as possible, and that's a difference to the previous recordings. This time, we took a lot of time and effort into getting the right sound for every song, so to say. For example, the guitars. The nowadays standard is more like put in an amplifier and just take the signal, the digital signal, and then play a bit around with the digital sounds. But this time we brought up tons of material in a point of amplifiers and real speakers. So we mic'd every speaker, and we mic'd even the rooms where the speakers were set up. So to get the appropriate sound. And so we took a lot of time to trick around with that. And with the drums we did the same way. Everything what you hear on this album is just a real signal, and it's just air and room. And we wanted to have, or to give the fans or the listeners the feel that they can see and feel finally the human being behind the instrument. Because nowadays the recordings of today of a lot of bands, whoever, I mean, a lot of times I sit down listening to an album, to a certain album, and I can't feel or hear a human being anymore, a musician behind the instrument. Those times somehow has gone, and that was a thing we wanted to have caught on this album, the human being and the natural sound. And I guess we did well. It's a great sound to me for regarding my taste of sound.
Okay, I believe Helloween is an album that you don't have to listen to only once. It has so many things to give you. Something that I noticed when I was preparing this interview. It has so much things to give you. Not with only one or a listening session is not enough. So let's talk about this wonderful artwork, a nod to the Helloween legacy throughout the years. Hell, it's decades now. What made say, yeah, that's the new artwork, and if there is a message to it?
Yeah, the message is alike the sound. When we were during the recordings, we already started to think about the artwork, to get everything done in time. So we thought, we spent so much energy and effort and time into getting a real sounding album, like a vintage sound, more refined vintage sound, because we wanted. That's another point. We wanted to have a way like a vintage sound, but combined with the nowadays technology. So best of both worlds. And that was the same we wanted to have with the cover artwork. This time we thought we should bring back finally a drawn cover artwork as we were used to have in the 80s, where it was quite, usually, I mean, it was normal to have a hand-drawn album. There were no computers. So, and that was actually the meaning of this album, to get back off this cover, to get back an artwork, a real artwork, not just a printed computer printed picture which looks cool or whatever. No, we wanted to have an artist, Cantor, for example, who is responsible for example, the current Testament album too. So he's such an talent and wonderful painter. And when I saw even his scribbles, he got me in. So I was completely over the moon. And it was when everyone of us gave into that painting. So it was clear as crystal to fulfill hopefully the expectations with that hand drawn picture, or cover artwork. I mean, it's amazing big cover artwork.
Okay, let's talk about the elephant in the room, the sign of our times, the consequences of COVID-19 from the start of 2020 to the music industry, and not only affected bands, labels, and releases. What is your plans for supporting this album? What are your plans about touring?
Yeah, I mean, we have postponed our current tour, I guess, now for the third time. And now it's planned for us to go on tour with that album at the beginning of 2002, around springtime, and should bring us, as always, around the world, around the globe, in every country. So, but the times are kind of unpredictable. So we keep the finger crossed that we finally can make it on tour. And that's our plannings for now. So this year we haven't planned anything because of the situation. We can't plan anything. We just do as much as possible interviews as we are doing at the moment. And for those kind of interviews, we have a big run, really a big run. I mean, we're pushing the 600 interviews at the moment. So every one of us has been talking for days, from the beginning of the day until the end. So it's quite busy, even for me as a drummer. I'm not used to it that much. But a lot of people want to talk with me, so why not? I'm happy about it. I mean, I'm a drummer. I prefer that the drums do the talking, but now I have to talk real.
So, do you believe that that COVID, the pandemic, made damage beyond repair to some venues and festivals due to continuous cancellations? A few months ago, I read an article about difficulties about the American venues. Maybe 1/3 of them will close due to coronavirus. What do you believe about that?
What I believe, that's believing. To believe something doesn't mean that it's real, that it's that it's a matter of fact. Hopefully, it's not the way you told me, but for sure, I think really lots of promoters and venues slumped out, I guess, and it hasn't slumped out yet. Deterioration is still keep on going, and we haven't slumped out, I think, or bottomed out. That would be the right expression. So what shall I say? Hope that we will find a lot of friends still on the markets after that pandemic.
So, do you believe, as you said before, the pandemic made unintentionally a new way of creativity or new collaborations not possible before? We've seen many parodied songs, many collaborations through the internet, making some to gain some lost time. What do you believe about that?
Yeah, I agree. I completely agree with you. I mean, lots of musicians all of a sudden had a lot of time, or they still have a lot of time. So at a certain point, probably they gathered, they caught a lot of their creativity, of their ideas and whatever, and were eager and willing, or were forced to do something in whatever way. And so a lot of collaborations happened due to the internet. I mean, that's in a point of that we can be lucky that this kind of tool exists. So I think about, it wasn't there around the internet. Wow, then it would be a really tough time. But due to the internet, I mean, I know a lot of musicians who did online sessions together, or spent a lot of, or exchanged ideas, or recorded an album together, even though they are living in different countries, continents. So it's quite easy. It became quite easy nowadays or today to record an album with whoever and wherever this guy lives. Almost every musician has an own home studio or demo studio where he easily can record his idea and bounce it down and swap it over to the next internet address. So I think you will have or find for sure some positive aspects of the pandemic in a point of creativity and collaborations. I'm completely with you.
Okay, now that, as I say jokingly, the tough questions. What other bands are you listening this time around? What other bands, Daniel, listening this time around?
Tons of different bands. I mean, the current Onslaught completely dragged me in, or the current Overkill or Slayer is running, and I bought tons of vinyl. I'm a vinyl lover, so 1 week ago I bought, I don't know, tons of vinyls, such as Santana, all the stuff I haven't gotten yet, and so every kind of music, Van Halen. When I got here back home, I drove with my car, and there was the current what's the name of this band? It's a really young band. They sent me an album, and it's thrash metal. Damn it, they're young boys.
No worries, music is music. No worries.
I mean, more or less, I'm a thrash metal guy in a sense. So mainly thrash metal, heavy metal, thrash metal. That's what's spinning on my turntable at the moment.
Okay, the question that everyone hates to answer. Your favorite song from the album?
Down the Dumps. As easy as it is.
Yeah, Cyanide, Down in the Dumps for me also. And usually there is at the moment. Sometimes I prefer something else. Maybe sometimes Robot King. Maybe sometimes Skyfall. It sometimes, changes.
Yeah. Depends on the day.
On the mood.
Yeah.
Yes.
Then it depends completely on your condition, on your state of mind condition. So I would say, but I would take the same songs. Skyfall, probably I've heard it too much, so that I would skip. But with Robert King and Down the Dumps and Best Times, or even Angels, is a killer song.
Yeah.
It's a kind of an untypical Halloween song, even though it sounds Halloweenish, but it ain't. It's a really untypical song, especially written for Kiska's voice, and that you can hear and feel. I mean, it's a killer song too. But yeah, as I would agree with you, go with you and your opinion about the songs you picked out, Robert King and Down the Dumps. Somehow, those kind of songs have the kind of feel or gives you a kind of impression being back in the time of the Walls of Jericho times, So this roughness and freshness, and you can feel how the boys were eager to conquer the world back then, and that you can feel in those two songs.
Okay, any memories from the first time you went on stage, or maybe the first, memory from Pumpkins United, the first feeling when you saw all this thing, happening?
Yeah, of course. When the first show we played was in a show, I guess, in Mexico, and that was a little venue. So we booked that venue to do a kind of warm-up show, even though there were probably 2,000 people, spectators. So that was a huge warm-up show, but that was a cool feeling for me as a fan. I mean, I'm the drummer, and I see every night after night, the boys from the back, from behind, from the rear of the stage. So to watch the people from my mates from behind while playing those legendary songs with the original voice and original guitar player, for example. So that was kind of wow. That was a moment where I said, wow, what a crazy moment, playing the original tunes with original members in front of so many people, and the best is still to come. The tour hadn't started yet, so back then, and so I thought, wow, and what kind of dream I find myself. And so and at the end of the tour, it was a great success, and yeah.
Any memories from the worst or best show you had? Any funny moments? Lots of them,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. There were certain shows where Michi caught a flu, and I could watch him how he dealt with it during the show. He squeezed himself to get the best out of it, and I could saw him suffer. That really was what a bad moment at all to me, to see or watching a brother suffering, But he gave every night. He gave his really best, and I'm really proud of him how he tackled that problem. But watching him tackling so hard, that was a kind of I don't need that anymore actually. But hey, we are human beings, and on tour you easily could caught and flu or whatever, but the show must go on, as Freddie already sang.
Any funny
So,
moments?
huh?
Any funny moments?
Funny, tons of old mate. Wow, slipped my mind right away. So, but we had a lot of fun off tour for sure. I can tell you, for example, we had a roof pool, and so we had an after show relaxing party. So we got together on that roof pool as to have a couple of drinks, and talk a bit about the show, and so that the soul hang. But all of a sudden I could hear someone screaming, and I heard a big splash, and guess who was in? Marcus. So I mean, all those little funny things, and yeah.
Something that Daniel regret throughout his career?
No, nothing. There's nothing to regret. Even the worst moments and the worst, even most worst decision I took made me even stronger, and became a part of my career, and part of my character. So mistakes are there to make you stronger. You always have to emanate from the ashes, or from every crisis, even stronger, and that makes you even more characteristic than before. So in the point of regret, I agree. I never regret anything.
Also, here in Greece, we have our second cancellation of your gig, so we are waiting for you to come. What's your experience with Greek fans?
Oh, they are enthusiastic, as for example, they go the same way, freaking out like the South American fans. They have a lot of common, a lot of mutual things, and a lot of in common. So I really like playing Latin countries. So I call it Latin countries. Latin people are more open-minded, can show more what they feel, and so they can make about they're just cheering, and you can watch them having a good time, and that's what I really respect and like having when we go to a Latin-oriented country. So.
Yeah, we know we're crazy bastards anyway. So, any last message to your fans?
Last message. Hey, to everyone out there. I mean, hopefully you chomping at the bit until Friday. It's just 2 days from now on to finally get your fingers on our new album. And hey, hopefully you like it as much as we do. And hopefully we see another soon on whatever stage, and wherever it may be. And we can't wait as much as you. And stay healthy and have a lot of fun.
Daniel, thank you very much. I already heard the album. It was fantastic. I hope everyone will like it. I think will like it. Will like this album, this beautiful album with a beautiful artwork. Daniel, thank you very much about this interview.
Thank you for your kind interview, for your kind questions. It was a pleasure talking with you. And hey, stay safe and have a lot of fun while watching our album.
Okay, thank you very much.